by any member of this board during these proceedings. If you do so, I may declare you out of order. If you proceed after being declared out of order, your conduct will be deemed substantial interference with these proceedings. Thereupon, you will be removed from these chambers and may also face criminal charges pursuant to TCA 39-17-306. It's my sincere hope that everyone participating in these proceedings will conduct themselves in a polite manner with respect shown to all regardless to disagreement. Everyone gets to speak one time. You speak for yourself. You speak for anybody else, you only speak one time. We're going to start the form. The first one is Eugene Walker. Step to the podium and state your name and address.
Eugene Walker, 1716 Chris Drive. I'm here on the reason for the Senior Citizen Center about having full-time employment. At this moment, you got some ladies who work up there, and you got a good foundation, chance for this place to grow and benefit from it. As for their hard work and stuff, your enrollment has increased, your attendance at the place has increased, and which has helped out benefitly. All three ladies are hard working, they're dependable, they're dedicated, and they love working with the seniors. At this time, there's something that's been missing from the center. The center's got now, and it's got a lot of heart in it now. People enjoying themselves. People are smiling. People are singing. If any of you have ever been up there, you should come sometime and maybe enjoy it yourself. With all this bundled into one, need for another full-time employee is greatly needed to provide the care and services for the seniors at the center. All this is available in a time-needed business. On the foundation you got built at the time that's laid out, show that you are working to provide for the seniors and make it a first-class showcase for your city. Do not lose the momentum or the moment for this, because if you let it go now, you might not ever have the chance again to achieve this goal with the hiring of the full-time employee. Remember, the center now has heart, and people are dedicated to it. And the heartbeat's increasing each day, and it's getting steady and stronger. So you need to take y'all's time and think about this and be more considerate with the people. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Next will be Kathleen Green. Come up and speak your name and your address.
Catherine Green, 407 Nelson Circle. I've been a member of the Senior Center since 2008. Can I ask the officer to please pass this out to the aldermen and mayor and vice mayor, please? The Senior Center has grown, as Mr. Walker has said. We are outgrowing our building. We are outgrowing everything. I am also the leader. I do the Wii Bowling, and we have a very active group with the Wii Bowling. The ladies go above and beyond what they are asked to do. They make sure that our health is in good service by taking our blood pressure weekly or every other day. They have to be trained to do CPR and know how to use the heart to bring us back to life. And that takes training. That takes advanced training for all these women to do. I am also asking that consideration be made for another full-time employee because we have grown so much. And they take us on great trips. They work for us, they feed us, they sometimes even have to clean up after us. The food is fabulous. If you ever stopped in on a Friday and had lunch with us, please do, because the food is fabulous. And you can't go anywhere in the city for $3 and get a fine lunch. Ladies and gentlemen, please consider for Laverne Senior Center a full-time employee for the center, which we desperately need. I know on last Thursday, you talked about a center or a water thing for our park. That is well and good, but the liabilities are high. If you haven't checked it out, please do, because you have to make sure you got the rubber mats down. If a child would fall and break his arm, leg, or bump his head, parent, elderly person, because they like to run through water too, that could be a liability for you all too. So stop and think about where the needs are here in the city. The city is one of the greatest places that we have in Middle Tennessee. Let's keep it that way. And we have seniors coming from Mount Juliet, Nashville, Antioch, Smyrna, all over the Middle Tennessee area. That's why we have grown so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Next will be Tony Bonetta.
My name is Tony Finetta, and I've lived here since 2001. I've been a part of the volunteer stuff in Laverne since about 2004. And about 3.5 years ago, I became a member of the Senior Citizens Advisory Board. And I want to repeat some of what they've said, but I want to go back 3 years ago when our 2 part-timers took over. The other person got fired and the other ones followed, but the 2 part-timers with other people had to go in there and clean the center. From the bathrooms being totally disgusting, the refrigerator had maggots in it, and they really poured their heart into the center. And at that time, they only fed them like call-out pizza, very cheap catering food and events and stuff like that. And it's just grown from there. They come in, they took over, they cleaned it up. And at that time, they probably had about maybe a good 25 seniors that come in. And now it's grown to like 50 on a bad day to like anywhere from 100, 125 a day, if not more. It all depends on what's going on that day. And like they've also said, the food is fabulous. I mean, I'm pretty sure at least most of us has got 5 or 10 pounds on us from just the banana pudding alone, okay? Seriously.
I'll agree.
But getting at that, because we have GNRC that we get money from, that we have to go by their standards and have to do things every day on a regular day that they have to keep up with and doing with the seniors. And so that has not given them enough time to do other stuff. The 2 part-timers take a lot of stuff home with them that they have to cook. The food you eat, pretty much, well, the bulk of it is cooked at their house, on their time, their wear and tear on their stove, and there's just no time anymore. And we're just asking for one of the part-timers to be full-time. And I know, since I've even been involved in the city, I mean, our budget has went nowhere. It has stayed the same. We've got no increases or nothing. And if we need something major, it has to come out of somebody else's budget. But our budget has to pay for everything, even our building maintenance, which still blows my mind. But, you know, we need this other full-time employee just to keep things going. And I really wish, and take the consideration that, you know, what the seniors need. And I do know our advisory board, Mary Jane is here, you know, that a month well, not this month, but last month, we, you know, voted on getting a full-time employee and coming to y'all and asking. Even the board knows we need this. But I just wish y'all would, you know, think about it, and thank y'all so much for listening to us.
Thank you. The next is, I can't make out the name.
Miss Leah.
Leah.
Leah? But they live at 253 Beale Street Boulevard?
Yes.
Leah?
She's slow because she's blind.
Hello, my name is Leah, and I've been going to the center from November 2011 to the present time. And this is the first time it's been so good down at the center. It is the best. And, you know, the state have came in and judge gave us a grade. And this time they got 100, which is a lot. And I was very proud of that fact because they clean, and they clean. We need an hourly person hired from one of them, and that would be a good thing. You know, you've never seen two people that work so much. And, you know, I just thank you because, you know, I was told, Mayor, that you're a smart man. And I'm going to ask you to be wise. So I appeal to your best judgment. Put an hourly person down there at the center because it's growing more and more every day. And everyone makes a comment, oh, I wish our center was like that. Oh, I enjoy this center. If I lived down here, I would be going to this center. And you know, everybody has told you food is fabulous. You can't find a better place. And they show love to everybody. Okay, and thank you.
Thank you. Next will be Debbie Hugan. Want to state your name and your address, please?
Good evening. My name's Deborah Hewen, live at 431 Randall Lane. And tonight I want to speak about wants and needs of the city. I'm going to keep it brief. I won't be able to address everything I want to address. But according to the NFPA standards, our fire hall is short-staffed by at least a minimum of 12 firefighters. That's 4 firefighters per shift. And I know we have a lot of wants. I want a community center. Some of you want a splash pad. But in my household budget, I have to put my wants off while I address the safety of my home and the safety of my family. And I'm asking you, I know firefighters aren't that much fun, but you know, we need them. And to keep our city safe, to keep us from losing any lives, to keep our property safe, and to keep them from being injured on the job by trying to do the job of 2 or 3 men on a shift. On a single-story fire, they're supposed to send at least 12 men. And, 15 men minimum, okay? We can't meet that. And they have maybe 12 men, 11 men on each shift right now. We don't have enough to send to meet the minimum standards of a single-story building. And as much as we all want to romp in a splash pad or a community center or any of the other wants, I mean, how would you like to go to sleep and not be able to sleep because you know a firefighter was injured permanently or somebody's life was lost because we as a city didn't give them enough men to meet the very minimum standards. We're below. We've got a failing report. We're a thriving city. We're a growing city. We've got Walmart. We've got revenue coming in, potential more revenue coming in all the time. Let's try to build our infrastructure, keep our citizens safe, because if we're not safe, if we're at risk because if somebody has a fire and there's not enough men and somebody dies, is it worth it that somebody got to play for 3 months out of the year in a splash pad? Is it really worth it? I say it's not. And I'm just asking you, look at your own household budgets and know that you put your own wants aside. If you want cable, but you know you've got to pay your homeowner's insurance, you're not going to get cable, are you? And I mean, I don't want to squash anybody's dreams of a splash pad because one day I hope we can have something for the kids like that. But right now, I want people to go home and feel safe and knowing that if we have a fire, nobody's going to die. Right now, you can't assure them of that. And you're putting our city at risk of liability of being sued, because if somebody dies in one of these fires, and it's known, and it will be known, that we do not have enough firemen, we're going to be sued. Please consider that. Thank you.
Thank you. Next to be Mary Jane Skinner. Mary, your name's down twice. You got one down for flooding and senior citizen. You might want to try to hit both of them because you only speak once.
Okay. My name is Mary Jane Skinner. I reside at 792 Stones River Road. Been there about 58 years. Have been very happy until now. We've got flooding. My place in the back had never flooded before. Now it's flooding. I had to cancel Cub Scout camp out this weekend because it was flooding. I walked back there this afternoon, was going to try to rework the rock wall that I was told I would have to do away with. It's still muddy. Water is still seeping through the mulch barrier that's there. So I planted trees that I got from the city. My trees are gone back there. I planted was hoping would be 4 beautiful trees. They're gone now. And I would like for the city to step up and work a little bit harder to try to get that flooding stopped on my place. Now, I'd like to talk about the senior citizens. I've been with the senior citizens ever since it started. When it started, it was the Seniors Arts and Arts Council. We do need a full-time employee. The 2 ladies that we have now, they work themselves to death. If you've not been up there at the center, come and visit sometimes. You'll see what it's like inside, especially on Fridays when they cook a fabulous meal. You'll go away hungry maybe because you didn't want to get the food. But if you go away hungry, that's your fault. I know. And everybody does their fair share up there. Seniors are out there working and stuff like that. So I wish the council would consider hiring a full-time employee for the senior citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. Next will be Mr. John Skinner.
Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, distinguished aldermen. My name is John Skinner, live at 790 Stones River Road, and come to address some concerns. The biggest concern being why nobody can tell me what is going on. We have a planning commission. To me, if a planning commission approves something, that there should be a set of ordinances in place with a time frame attached to each one. I'm just trying to find out what phase they're in this, quote, development, and nobody can tell me. I ask about who is in charge of making sure that no more debris comes on my property, washes my driveway out, floods the bottom of my house. Nobody can help me with that either, because nobody knows who's in charge of anything. Who is in charge of telling the people when they have a question what to do, where they're at, and what is going to be the next step? Now, maybe the Planning Commission, maybe I perceive it to be something other than what it is. If the Planning Commission approves a project, is it not up to them or one of the other departments under them after they passed it to tell us exactly, anytime somebody goes in, one of my fellow citizens go in there and say, hey, look, they're building this over here next to my house. What's the next step in that? And when is that step going to be taking place? If it's already been approved, it seems like somebody should have an answer there. At that time, again, who has that answer? Why do we have so many departments acting independently when they should be acting in unison? everybody should be on the same page here. Because our city is our city. When something is going on and we have questions, we need answers. I've been a citizen of this community even since before we were annexed in. A lot of people I have known my entire life. Whether we see eye to eye on things, that doesn't matter. Because I'm sorry, we're still family. And when I say family, I was brought up in a community that cared for each other. Somebody was hurt. Some family was in distress. Not the next door neighbor, but everybody around would rally and help each other. So why cannot we get simple answers to important questions to us? It's important to me. These people are going to have important questions. They need the answers. Who do we go to find these answers out? I thank you very much. I thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. John. Next is Laura Corbett.
Lori Corbett. I live in the Hampton Roads subdivision, 1679 Newport Place. I'm here speaking on behalf of several of my neighbors over here. The questions that I have are relative to swimming pools and the regulations and how those are enforced, and an issue that we have with speeding in our neighborhood. Three basic questions that I have. I'd like to know how the Tennessee private swimming pool regulations are enforced, who enforces them with respect to permits, zoning, what is the correct type of fence that should be around the pool and gates. I'd like to have an answer to that. And I'd also like to know when a homeowner decides to install a swimming pool, what is the procedure for making sure all of these regulations are met and followed? Who follows up on that? That's a concern. As far as the speeding, it's been an issue since my husband and I built the house about 19 years ago, and it's very dangerous. I'd like to know, I think we've called several times. Police officers have come out and they've put the little trailers with the, indicates how fast you're going, and people just blister past it, don't pay any attention to it. There have been speed limit signs installed. Nobody pays any attention to those. I know that there is an intersection over in Smyrna. I believe it is at the intersection of Rock Springs and Mason Tucker, where they have just the little small, that you can, just an indication of, hey, slow down right here. I don't know why we can't have speed bumps. I think it was because they said it would interfere with the police or the rescue, and I understand that. But at the same time, there have been several instances where some of the people out walking have actually had to jump out of the way to keep from getting run over by somebody coming around a curve that they should clearly be slowing down for. But those are the three issues that are the three questions that I have, and I'd like to know who can answer those for me, whether it's codes, but I would like to have an answer to those. Thank you.
Thank you. Next will be Robert St. John. Come up, state your name and the address.
I'm Robert St. John. I live at 150 Lake Point Road. My concern is the deterioration of some of the properties, not only in Hampton Roads Estates. I'm at this point representing a number of them. If I could ask that they stand, those residents. Thank you. We all have the concerns of what is going on, not only in our subdivision, but the city, as far as deterioration of the property, the lawns not being kept properly. So I looked at the tax revenue that's coming in on the properties within Hampton Roads Estates. Those properties are valued anywhere from $300,000 to $700,000. That's a lot of city revenue. And if the tax assessors come out and devalue our property because of deterioration of the homes and property, it's going to affect the tax rates of this city as well. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Next will be Victor Tarrasso.
Yeah, my name is Victor Rosso, and I live at 152 Lake Point Road. I'd like the officer to pass these out, please. The mayor, vice mayor, and alderman, and I've only got one set of pictures. I'd like to follow up from our April 27th meeting, workshop meeting when we were here. I brought up the issue of the ordinance that covers inoperable, unlicensed vehicles and requested not excluding race cars and antique vehicles from this ordinance. As I stated then, it's way less than 1% of the population owns those type of vehicles. These vehicles, if not licensed and not in operable condition, need to be kept inside a building, out of sight, not outside in residential neighborhoods. As some of the other things that were discussed here today, it does devalue properties. It's unsightly, and we do have some representation here of people that don't like looking at these kind of things. Has this request been taken under advisement, and will it be voted on? I guess my question is to you all here and also to codes. We requested that one sentence, the last part of that one sentence from chapter 4, 13402, page 13-20 be struck. The other question that I'd have for codes is when there's obvious ordinances or codes that are being violated, who's responsible for reporting these violations? I mean, I understand that citizens have a responsibility to report these violations, but when you're all driving around, do you not see that certain things are being violated? And if they're obvious, I mean, cars that have got trees growing through them and don't have license plates on them, hey, they don't belong there. It's in the code that they don't belong. Which brings up my last point here. The current method of formally reporting ordinance violations is one of two ways. You either stay anonymous or you give your name and address. If you use the anonymous method, there's no way to follow up with a concern. You don't see what codes has done. There's just no way to follow up on it. If you give your name, then the violator can find who reported the issue from codes to codes, and a concern that I have is any kind of retaliation that person may have against me or whoever else reports them. Would you please review the current methods of reporting issues? Is there any way to stay anonymous and still be able to follow up on what has happened? Thank you very much. I guess one other question I have is when, I ask questions of codes here, how do we address codes and get an answer? Is there any particular way to do that?
Call me.
Okay.
My number's on the website.
Okay, thank you very much.
Lisa Morrow.
Good evening. My name is Lisa Morrow. I live at 1302 Fraley Court in the Hampton Road subdivision. I'm here tonight because there was on the morning of April 25th, early morning, there was several break-in attempts to properties. My husband's truck was broke into, stereo equipment was stolen, another neighbor's stereo equipment stolen. But what's most concerning to me is that they were attempting to break into my property. There was a back door that was jammed up with a screwdriver. My screen was cut, so they were coming in. Lived here almost 20 years, raised my kids here, and now this. So I think the police came out. There were probably 5 or 6 families that were affected. Reports were filed, and my question is, where are we on finding this? So I'm terrified, and we have an alarm system. One of the neighbors, I think, had a camera, surveillance tape picture. So I've called twice to get answers to a detective. I was told my husband didn't file a report, but the police came out. He thought he had filed a report. So they came back out. I showed him the screen, the door, and I just want information. I want to know that we're working on this. So, it's a safe place. I've many times leave the car unlocked. That's my bad, but this is a good neighborhood, and I've never experienced this before. So I just want, I guess, law enforcement to be aware that there's an individual out there, maybe not in my neighborhood, he's got all he wanted, but he's going to the next one, and he's coming in. So I'm just asking for support and information and how we go about getting information on the status of our reports, our cases, or whatever. So, thank you.
Thank you. That's the last of the citizens that gets up and speaks. Seeing it's after 7 o'clock, I call this citizens forum over, and we're going to start the Mayor and Aldermen regular meeting. As mayor, it's my duty to enforce order. Officer Lieutenant Call and Sergeant Eubanks are the Sergeant of Arms and will assist in maintaining order. Unless you are recognized by me and granted permission to speak, you will not be able to address the board, otherwise make any verbal noises that can be heard by any member of this board during these proceedings. If you do so, you may be declared out of order, and you pursuit after being declared out of order you conduct will be deemed substantial interference with these proceedings. Thereupon, you will be removed from these chambers. You may also face criminal charges pursuant to TCA 39-17-306. It is my sincere hope that everyone participating in these proceedings will conduct itself in a polite manner and respect shown to all regardless of disagreement. We'll start right into the meeting. This is the Mayor and Aldermen meeting, May 2nd, 2017 regular meeting. And I call this meeting to order. We do have a quorum. The prayer is Vice Mayor Green, and the pledge of allegiance is with Alderman Jones. Please stand.
Mr. Mayor, with the consent of the Vice Mayor, I'd like to yield the floor to Pastor D. Hennessy.
I'd like to first read from 1 Timothy 2, verses 1 through 3. I urge then first of all that petition, prayer, intercession, and thanksgiving be made for all people, for kings and all those in authority, that they may live peacefully and quiet lives in all goodness and holiness. This is good and a pleasing thing to God our Savior, who wants all people to be saved and to come to the knowledge of the truth. Holy God, my Father, thank you for the many blessings that our local community has. We pray for those that are in the offices that govern this community and county, and that make them wise and godly decisions, which are always in the best interest of the community. We are glad that we have the freedom to speak up and to vote, even for, those who are in oppositions to us. Even if we differ from our leaders, we pray for them to be blessed by you, God. We also pray for those that are in law enforcement, firefighters, and EMS. Please protect them in their line of duty so that they may protect those of us who have placed our trust in them. God, please bless these men and women in city government, the mayor's office, the commissions, and all elected officials, and certainly those who put themselves in harm's way, like law enforcement, firefighters, and EMS workers. We are asking that you would graciously grant them wisdom to govern amid the conflicting interests and issues of our times, a sense of welfare and true needs of our people, a keen thirst for justice and righteousness, confidence in what is good and fitting, the ability to work together in harmony even when there is honest disagreement, personal peace in their lives, and joy in their tasks. We also pray for the agenda set forth today. Please give an assurance of what would please you and what would benefit those who live and work in and around our beloved city of Laverne, our county of Rutherford, the state of Tennessee, and the grand country of the United States. It is in Jesus' precious name that we pray. Amen.
Face the flag.
Mayor, I'd like to yield the floor to Sergeant Eubanks.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order of business, we need to approve our minutes for April the 4th,
So moved.
2017 public hearing, and April 4th, 2017 regular meeting. Need a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
Is second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Well, the minutes is approved 5-0 for April 4th, 2017 public hearing and April 4th, 2017 regular meeting. We will move right down to the department reports. First is fire. Chief Ricky McCormick.
Mayor, Alderman, month of April 2017, we had a total of 261 calls. Those consisted of 2 structure fires, 25 fire alarms, 2 vehicle fires, 2 grass fires, 3 hazardous materials calls, 27 motor vehicle accidents, 177 medical calls, 5 canceled en route, 18 miscellaneous calls. Our average response time was 3.1 minutes, and our total water consumption for the month of April 2017 was 3,500 gallons. See any questions?
Thank you, Ricky.
Thank you.
We're down to police. Chief Mike Walker.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Alderman, as you can see, it's really big, isn't it?
We could see it good.
I told you the calls for service were going up, didn't I?
Getting bigger.
And they actually did. For the calendar year to date this year compared to last year, we're up, I believe it's 27%. Glenn, if you'll look toward the bottom, I believe that's right, 27 even. Yeah, 27% even. And our fiscal year to date is up about 38% still. But we don't have our Tibers report because we're still waiting on Tibers to close out by the 5th or the 6th of the month. Hopefully next year, since we now have our mobile field reporting up and running last week, we should have data on our Group A crimes on a much more regular basis now rather than having to wait on TBI to close their file. This is simply time of day and day a week of the calls for service, and you can see the times there for the hours of the day specifically. And they're really spread out. I'll take that money. Carry the Load is coming the 18th. That's Thursday. That's a day early this year. Carry the Load should be here somewhere in the neighborhood of around 4 p.m. They may be a tad earlier or a tad later than that, but they're coming back, and this will be one more time they've been here, and they've been coming through Laverne since 2012. So we want to see them and recognize them and welcome them. They will not be stopping for a long period of time. They're going on in toward Nashville, and we'll be eating there this year instead of here. But we'd love to have everybody out with their red, white, and blue and their flags, etc. I don't know how many here are familiar with the situation that we had this past weekend. It involved Lieutenant Chris Goins. And without getting into a lot of tremendous detail, I will tell you that Chris had stopped a vehicle about 12:44, I think it was, a.m. Saturday morning over on Ingram. And Officer Larry Holliday, who is here tonight, responded to back him up. And a lot of people ask, why do we do that? Because we never know what might be there on a traffic stop. He didn't rush over there, emergency traffic, but he drove over there. When he got to Ingram, Lieutenant Goins wasn't there. He was just across on Howell Quaker. And Larry drove over, pulled up, looked at him, and said, LT, are you all right? And he wasn't. He had walked up to the car, felt something going on, numbness, tingling, pain, etc., seeing, thinking, and went back to the car. And thank goodness Larry was there. He called for an ambulance. Fire came and began working with Chris. At that time, EMS came, very quickly transported him to Stonecrest. He had probably was in the midst of having a stroke at that time, and then later on had a much more serious stroke. But because of a lot of prayers from a lot of people, I will tell you personally, I don't care. I'm not ashamed. God is hearing. God is answering. Chris has been moved this afternoon to rehab. He's got a pretty good road to go, long road that he's going to have to hoe. But he's hanging in there. He's fighting. He keeps everybody entertained. We had to back off a little bit. We were wearing him out, and he needed some rest, so we had to back off a little bit from us all going. But I think Angie understands that she has more in-laws now than she ever thought she had, because she's seen all of Chris's brothers and sisters who are worried about him and taking care of him. But for those in the audience, if you will, if you're so inclined, please pray for Lieutenant Goins' healing, and that God will continue hearing our prayers and granting them, even though he understands, preacher, we have selfish prayers, and we love him, and that's why we want him healed. But I appreciate any and all you can do. The family's doing good. We're watching over them, and down the road, if things look like we may need to ask for a little bit of help, we'll do that. But right now, everything's working great. And thanks everybody who has been interested in writing and calling and texting, asking for information. We do appreciate it. And we'll continue our city updates as we go. Lisa, I've been here 14 years. You've known me since I was at my old job and our girls played ball. You know where I work. You know who to call. That's all you have to do. Okay. Where'd Roby go? Roby left. She left. Roby left. I want to say hello to another lady I knew when I was at my former job many years ago, too. Any questions?
Can you say again the date for the carry the load?
18th.
18th?
May the 18th.
Okay, May 18th.
That's Thursday this year instead of Friday. And it should be around 4 o'clock, somewhere in there.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Moving down to codes at Randolph. Mr. Randolph Sawyer.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Alderman. Monthly report for April 2017. We issued 26 single-family dwellings, a total of a valuation of $3 million. Commercial, there were 4 permits issued, 3.2 million. Miscellaneous permits, there were 10. Others, to include additions and remodels, there were 3. Mobile homes, there was 1. Total number of permits for the month were 46 at a valuation of $6.3 million. Plumbing permits, there were 26 single-family, 2 commercial. Mechanical, there were 26 single-family, 2 commercial. Complaints called in for the month, there were 37. For tall grass, 31. For junk cars, 73 others. Our impact fees for the month, Roads were $30,000, parks, $8,000, police department, $4,000. Total monthly revenue with impact fees for the month was $69,564. Year-to-date totals are $536,550. Our total number of single-family permits issued year-to-date are 79. This time last year it was 44. Total number of permits year-to-date are 190. Any questions?
Thank you, Randolph.
Thank
Good
you, sir.
job. Down to Parks and Recreation Department, A.C. Davis.
Mayor, Alderman, Vice Mayor. I'm glad to see all the seniors here today. I like seeing y'all out and about other than at the center. I appreciate y'all coming out. This is one of the greatest groups of people you'll ever meet. I mean, on top of me having great employees down there, the camaraderie and the dynamic down there is just through the roof there. I mean, everything works good together. On top of employees and the seniors, it's really easy to be nice to these seniors when you got a bunch of good ones. There's a couple of them that's ornery, and you know who you are. But for the most part, they're a great group. There are numbers for the month. We have several projects going on. Obviously, the library is still a big deal, and we're on track for that right now. So let's hope everything continues on with that. We have a Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee meeting on May 15th, Greenway Committee on June the 19th, and the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee is on the 18th, but that's also the day of Carry the Load. And Bruce is there. We may look at either moving that or doing something because a lot of the seniors love to go to the Carry the Load, so I'll get with you on that tomorrow and we'll figure that out. It says projects upgraded, wall packs at the library and painted trim, and everything has been at the library here lately, so, but that's okay. Some of the upcoming events, on May 19th, we have Music in the Park, the Funky McFlys. Yes, that's a good name. I've gone online and looked at them. They're fantastic. They're really good. They play a little bit of everything. And then on June 23rd, we also have Music in the Park, and that's the Hoffman Band. And they are really good, too. So go online, check them out if you hadn't seen them before, but y'all come on out and see some music. So, you have any questions at all?
Thank you, AC. Great job. Thank you very much. Next to be Finance, Phyllis Rogers.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Alderman. Tonight's financial report is through the March 31st, which is 9 months into our fiscal year. For the general fund, revenues have exceeded expenditures by approximately $4 million. Local sales tax, we've collected $5.5 million, which is $1.4 million better than what we budgeted for this time of the year, and about $864,000 better than this time last year. State street aid revenues have exceeded expenditures by $77,000. Stormwater fund, the revenues have exceeded expenditures by about $79,000. And in our water sewer fund, revenues have exceeded expenditures by approximately $3.1 million. Second page represents our balances in our various bank accounts. And the third page is a comparison to prior year. For the general fund, revenues are up approximately $809,000. Expenses are up approximately $667,000. For the water sewer fund, revenues are up about $713,000 and expenses are up about $8,000. Our tap fees are also up about $267,000. Any questions?
Thank you, Phyllis. You do a good job. Appreciate everything. Down to library, Miss Donna.
Mayor, Vice Mayor Alderman, good evening. We are this close to opening the library. I'm really happy to say this afternoon when I left, every carpet tile has been laid. The carpet is down, the baseboards are down, so we're really, really excited about that. I wanted to bring to you tonight, since most of the time my reports are statistical, and I haven't been able to do that the past couple of months, just a few statistics in April. Shelving units moved, taken apart, put back together, repeat and do again, 82. Metal shelves taken off, then put back on, re-put back on, 3,900. Books moved, shelved, and moved again, 69,000. Chairs and tables moved, then moved again, 200 plus. Swiffer dusters used, 87 plus. times that we have walked around the entire library looking for something that used to be right there, way too many times to count, and we're still doing it. And the appreciation that's due to the Parks and Rec and Maintenance team is absolutely priceless. We appreciate them so much. Glad to announce that our library reopening celebration, and it will be a celebration, is Saturday, May the 13th. We are going to have a cutting of the construction tape at 10 a.m., and I invite all of you to please come out and be a part of this great celebration. You got to come and meet Pete the cat and Llama Llama. If you have small children, you know who both of those are. Join us for a hot dog and chips picnic outside. And just come help us celebrate the public library and reopening. And then on Monday, May the 15th, we will resume our regular business hours. Any questions?
And that's the 13th.
The 13th, Saturday the 13th is our celebration at 10 o'clock.
Thank you, Donna, and thank you for all your hard work that you and your staff with all the other employees have done. You've done a great job. It looks good over there.
I appreciate
Thank
that.
you,
They have worked very hard.
Next will be Water Treatment Plant, Thomas Champagne.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Alderman, Bruce. Thank you for my opportunity to present our monthly summary from March of this year. It was a good month. We sent out 121.6 million gallons of water to the residents, and of that, 3.7 million were recovered from our backwash in East Ledge Lagoon. Percy Priest got up a little high with all the rains, and it is now down to summer pool again at about 490 feet. The rainfall for March was 2.8 inches below normal, so that still left us in a drought, but I'm pretty sure that April caught us up. Operations, everything was normal with all our testing going on. Our flushing site is in preparation to start their flushing for the lake turnover, and we get a few complaints about just odor smells or chlorine getting older. In our lab for the month of March, we had 0 new lines and 0 fixed lines, which was good. Maintenance and repair, it was pretty much general things. We did a partial cleaning on our lagoon, and we're going to plan that again for this month to keep that good. Customer service, not comparing to the police department, but ours is only at 5 calls. But 4 were due to pressure complaints. 1 was other, which they requested to have their water sampled, which is what we love to do, let the customers know how good their water is. Maintenance for the month was at $5,182, which puts us just shy of $20,000 for our contract year. Always pleased to say we had no lost time incidents or recordables. Our training was on global harmonization, or the old MSDS sheets, to keep our people familiar with how to read them and what to expect. We're fully staffed with 10 folks there. 2 of them are in school this week, going for their operator and distribution license, actually. Looking ahead, I know it's going to be rainy, so we're preparing for all that, but anytime, we mention every month that anyone wants a complimentary water sample at their residence, just let us know and we'll put them in the schedule. And that's all I have.
Any questions for Thomas? How high did the water level get?
Well, we had it at 494 feet. Okay. So that's 5 foot over summer pool. So at our intake, it was above the road. So we had to put the boots on for a few days there until it went down, but it wasn't as bad as 2010 and 2011, by the least. So we're hoping they can keep it down now.
Thank you, Thomas. Next will be Public Works, Garland Russell.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Alderman. This will be the month of April 2017. We had a total of 72 brush removal requests. We had 475 pickups with a total of 34 loads at 102,500 pounds. We had 449 workhouse program hours, 98 work orders. Overtime was 30, and then on-call was 50 and a half, and most of that going towards the flooding on the Saturday. For the fleet department, we had a total of 53 repairs, 49 in-house, 4 was outsourced, with 25 oil changes, 16 tires, 6 sets of brakes was put on, 21 equipment repairs, which was being some of the lawnmowers that we're repairing, with a total of 43 and a half overtime hours, and I think 15 hours of that was for the flooding. Any questions?
Thank you, Garland. Moving on to utilities, Michael Deeks.
Mayor Alderman, good afternoon. For the month of April 2017, the Water Department, we had a total of 154 work orders, 26 new meter sets. We answered 213 Tennessee 1 calls. We had 5 mainline breaks, repaired 14 service lines. Estimated gallons of water not sold for the month was 55,840. We swapped out 139 meters with a total of 56 and a half hours overtime. On down to the sewer. Total work orders for the month was 145. Our service calls was 106. Pump stations were at 39. We had 3 final grinder pump inspections. And manhole inspections and repairs for the month was 58. Grinder pump rebuilds were 5, and 98 and a half hours overtime for the month in the sewer department. Both departments' overtime hours are a little up this month. A lot of that contributed to the 12-inch water main at the beginning of the month, and then obviously the rain event last Saturday. We realized that we still got a lot of work to do with the infiltration. We've made several improvements, but when the water comes up like that, we realize we still got more to do. So,
Any questions for Michael? I can't let you go. You got to speak something about the Laverne Junior Varsity baseball. They beat Riverdale, what, 3-2 to
yes,
win
sir.
the
Yes,
Rutherford
sir.
County Championship?
Yes, sir. JV won the JV district tournament last night, 3-2. My son plays for them. Rough season. I believe they won 2 games all year long. They went to the tournament. Last Thursday beat Riverdale, which was the #1 seed. They beat them 4-2. Turned around, beat Siegel Thursday 7-1. Played Saturday, beat Smyrna 12-9. And then won a tough one 3-2 last night to win it all. So
Good
very,
deal.
very proud of them.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you,
Michael.
sir.
Glad to have them stats memorized.
Good to see a Laverne team make the sweep. Down to Human Resources, Cheryl Lewis Smith.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor Alderman. Here is the report for Human Resources for the month of April. We had 2 external jobs posted with 78 applicants, 3 actual new hires, 3 resignations. There were 9 worker compensation claims, 1 liability claim, 95 Care Here appointments, 2 no-shows, 341 lives were covered, 2 HRAs conducted, 1 short-term disability claim, 1 long-term disability application, for a total claim dollar amount of $321,252. Are there any questions?
I don't have a question, but I've got something for you. I see I got so much here. The city of Laverne certification of appreciation hereby present Cheryl Lewis Smith. The city hereby recognize you with this award for serving as the 2017 State Conference Program Chair and being elected as the President of the Tennessee Chapter of International Public Management Association for the Human Resources. The city thanks you for your dedication service to the TPMA and the acknowledgement of experience you provide to the city. I give this in great pride.
Thank you.
And I think this is the award that you received.
Yes. Turn your certificate. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
And was this the state one?
This is the state.
Okay.
That's the
And this is the international one. Where did she go? We're not broke. Thank you. And congratulations. Good job. Good week for Laverne. Baseball and human resources. Good deal. Need to keep it up. Now we're down to presentation. We have two. We got a presentation from a state representative, Don White. Please come up. I see Representative Mike Sparks. We've been well covered by both of y'all in Laverne for years, and we appreciate your dedication and service.
Well, thank you, sir. It is a true honor to be standing here in front of you tonight to celebrate Laverne's 45th anniversary. You know, I go out to Laverne and I see wonderful things happening. I mean, this is such a tight-knit community. You know, whether it's pulling together to make Old Timers Day happen, which is a wonderful event here in Laverne, and to the senior citizens, we always fight for y'all's fried pies. They sell out very quickly, but I always tell my people, go get the fried pies before they sell out. But, you know, and all the community events that y'all put on, all of the businesses y'all are recruiting, it's an exciting time for Laverne. You know, every week we read something in the paper, a new business is coming in, you know, y'all getting new development. This is a very exciting time for Laverne, and we just wanted to celebrate this time with you. I mean, the people that for 45 years have made Laverne what it is today, we want to celebrate them as well, and the future of Laverne. I mean, y'all are moving on the right track, you're doing the right things, you're connecting with the right people, and so it's going to be a wonderful future for Laverne as well. Whether it's the community coming together to build a playground, to do the senior citizen center, to do food bank, whatever it is, the community always pulls together, and y'all are truly a family down here in Laverne. So this is a wonderful celebration, and congratulations for 45 years.
Thank you.
We're just glad to be here. You know, I was thinking about my late father. You know, he moved here in about 73, 74. He's passed on now. I know y'all were friends, and I'm thinking about Sinomax that moved in over there at the old Whirlpool plant that I used to work at. Many of y'all may have remembered the old Whirlpool plant. See the growth of Laverne, when many of us remember it was just a small little town over here by Sonic, the little bitty, two-room police station back then, and working for Coca-Cola back in my early 20s over here in Laverne, traveling. In fact, my first speeding ticket was on Walden Road. The day I got my driver's license is when I got my ticket, right there in front of Bridgestone where the Loggins lived, if y'all remember Todd Loggins and them.
More was to come?
Yeah, a few more. But anyways, appreciate what y'all do. Y'all have had a lot of challenges, like Smyrna's had challenges, the growth, trying to keep up. But one thing Laverne is known for at the state capitol is just the industry hub of Middle Tennessee. There's no doubt how strong it is here with Ajax Turner, McKesson Health, Cardinal Health, Thompson Machinery. The list could go on and on and on that's happening in Laverne. So really this is Don's idea to bring this, and I'm just glad to be a small part of it. So congratulations, y'all.
The state of Tennessee, of course, wanted to celebrate with you, so we have a House joint resolution. So Mayor, if you'll come up and accept it. And again, we just want to say congratulations for 45 wonderful years, and looking forward to seeing where 45 more years go for Laverne.
Yeah. Thank y'all. Mike, thank you. Don, thank you. We got one more presentation, and this is from the Rutherford County School Board, and I think Mr.
Hello, Mayor. I'm Aaron Holliday, and
Holiday.
yeah,
We're blank on it.
no problem. I got it. It's my pleasure to approach the Board of Mayor and Aldermen tonight, as well as a Laverne citizen. I live at 2034 Abingdon Drive, Laverne, Tennessee, and proud to represent the folks of Laverne and Smyrna in Zone 1 of the school board. Curiously enough, I'll share with you, I certainly want to take your questions as well, but the Laverne municipality is represented well at the school board. The Lake Forest area is part of Mr. Coy Young's school board district, and it extends on around toward Walter Hill. I have the center portion of Laverne, as well as a good bit of Smyrna in my district, and then the portion of Laverne that is to the west of I-24. Those areas are represented by Mr. Wayne Blair, and his district goes all the way down to the greater municipality of Eagleville. And so we've actually got 3 school board representatives that we can pull together whenever we need to for the interest of Laverne. In addition to that, I'm here to report to you that current enrollment in Rutherford County Schools is 44,545 students. That is 1,300 students more than we had this time last year. That is the rate of growth in Rutherford County, and it is staggering. If we combine the 44,544 in Rutherford County with 8,400 in Murfreesboro City Schools, we surpass Hamilton County and we rival Knox County. Knox County has 51,000. If you combine Murfreesboro City and Rutherford County, we would have 52,945 students. It would make us the 3rd largest school system in the state of Tennessee. It is significant, and it is why you hear things about growth and the number of students in our classrooms. Fortunately, we've been able to respond to some of that. We opened John Coleman Elementary, and that was an exciting time, very close to the Laverne area. But then in August of this past year, we were able to open an expansion at Roy Waldron Elementary. And we put an additional 15 classrooms into that facility. We liked it so much that we have already scheduled an additional expansion at Roy Waldron Elementary in our 5-year plan. In addition to that, the County Commission has approved the design phase for an expansion at Laverne Middle School. And all of these things are in response to this growth that is going on. We had a circumstance that occurred here in Laverne not too long ago where citizens raised the question of some of our school bus, and we interacted with members here at Laverne City Hall talking about our bus system. We not only have technology of camera systems on our buses, but we also have technology that allows us GPS location of the buses. That GPS technology has actually saved us money, as we're able to track the exact number of miles that the bus travels through GPS technology now. And so we've actually found that to be a savings. But there were questions raised by citizens in Laverne of the number of students on buses. We were able to go back with the cameras and take a look at that, and I'm here to report to you that indeed we have seats for every student on the bus. And we do anticipate in elementary and middle schools that we'll sit 3 to a seat. We have 90 passenger buses, and some of the circumstances were that we would have anywhere from 50 to 64 students on a bus that has a 90 passenger capacity. Now, it may not always be the nicest and most fun thing for a student to sit 3 to a seat, but at the elementary and middle school level, we certainly do expect that, and so we consider these buses to be running at an appropriate capacity. At the high school level, we have 90 passenger buses, and we had as many as 53 students on one of those 90 passenger buses. Again, we anticipate high school students sitting 2 to a seat, and so we would expect that we were in good shape in that regard as well, where 60 students could sit on a 90 passenger bus, and we had as many as 53. So the buses seem to be working in an appropriate manner. It is notable that at the State House, we are still watching the debate about seat belts for school buses. It is a debate that we're very concerned about at the school board. We have had accidents and collisions in our nearly 3 million miles that the buses travel, and we have always found that the buses are safe in the way that they are designed. Can they be safer with seat belts? Potentially they can. However, it would also increase the expenditures that a local municipality would have to cover because of bus monitors to ensure that every person on the bus were belted in and unbuckled at the appropriate times. And in addition to that, the buses would have to be refitted. Current legislation that's being proposed would grandfather in all existing buses, and any purchased after July of 2019 would have to include these seat belts. Now, that has not been passed, but it is in consideration, and I think it's worthy of citizens to understand that it would have somewhere around a $15 million annual impact to schools in the state of Tennessee. That's a statewide figure, not a local figure, but it is a statewide figure. If we had 257 buses like we do right now, and we put a $24,000 a year bus monitor on each one, it would add an additional $6.1 million to our local budget. So all of these things I raise to your concern as the school board continues to watch those. We are currently tracking toward a $356 million budget that we're working on right now for the school system. It is over $1,000 per student less than the state average expenditure. If we were just to bring Rutherford County expenditures to the state average, we would need an additional $46 million in order to meet the state average. Now, this is not to say that we're underfunded. We're very thankful for all of the funding we get. We would certainly, as any organization, love to have more, but what we are is very efficient with the dollars that we do spend. We know that because the state championships, in fact national championships, both academically and athletically, and even in the chess club, in archery clubs, all of these things are all coming from Rutherford County. My fellow school board members are accustomed to my analogy that I share, that when the world wants to see public education, regardless of what happens elsewhere in Finland or in the Far East where selective enrollment occurs, the world looks to public education and as an example in the United States of America, where we still educate every single student no matter what their deficiency or their ability. When they look to the United States of America, the United States government made a decision to send race to the top dollars to the state of Tennessee. And they want to see education reform from the state of Tennessee. And when they go to Nashville and say, show me what this has done, they don't take them to metro schools in Davidson County, and they don't send them to the Silver Spoon of Williamson County. They send them to Rutherford County. And as such, we are the pebble in the pond. We are the touch point of innovation in public education, and the ripples travel around the world. We are so proud of what is happening in Rutherford County schools. There are 5 areas that I wanted to highlight for you. We'll have 104 of our personnel retire this year. We will hire around 400 new teachers each school year. This fall, we will open Rocky Fork Middle School, and that will continue to relieve some of the overcrowding in our immediate area. We have transportation issues that we've already talked about, but the technology that we continue to use there is excellent, and what that technology may bring in the future as we try to allow each student to pursue any academic area that they would like to, no matter where it is offered in the county. Can we use the technology we have in transportation even more to transport our students all around the county and connect them with the academic pursuits that they want? We have crossed a threshold to 2-story construction everywhere. Even in elementary schools now, we build 2-story construction. It's a more cost-effective way to build as land prices continue to rise. And when we're doing that, we're finding even lower per square foot cost for our construction. And we are approaching an add-on first mentality as we are expanding Laverne Middle School. We are looking at continued expansion at Roy Waldron and at various other campuses. We are conducting a study right now to look at every single piece of property we have and what is the maximum density of student classrooms that we can put onto that property. This saves us from having to buy additional land and build other schools. Now, that said, there are still areas of the county, the 840 Almaville Road intersection, we need some land right in that area for a 3-school complex. South of Veterans Parkway, we're going to have additional schools there. So those are things that we're looking at. And finally, we're looking at magnet education. And we're very, very proud of the accomplishments. And take, for example, Laverne High School. I met with Principal Dirk Ash some years ago, and he shared with me in the No Child Left Behind mentality, so many resources go to an underachieving student to get them over a minimum threshold, to increase our graduation rates, that there's a decreasing amount left for that high achieving student. And so together with the school board, we kind of took the lid off of the idea of what we can accomplish in high school with partnerships with University of the Cumberlands and our own Motlow College and even MTSU for the Dual Enrollment Academy at Laverne High School. And you may have heard of this before, but currently we're awarding over 4,000 college credit hours through Laverne High School. We have zone exemption requests from other areas of the county to be able to go to Laverne High School. People want to get to Laverne High School to take advantage of the Dual Enrollment Academy where students are accomplishing great things. These kind of things may move us in a direction where we have magnet type of education at each individual school. At the same time, we have reached the #1 school in the state of Tennessee through our program at Central Magnet School. And when it is at capacity, is it indeed the right thing for us to consider a second magnet school in Rutherford County and a second magnet school in the north end of Rutherford County? It's certainly something that, that our school board is taking a look at, and as we do long-range planning, it's something that I would certainly appreciate your advocacy for as well, being fellow residents of the north end of the county. Finally, I want to recognize Roy Waldron School. The drama department there just does an incredible job. Murfreesboro City Schools and we have a friendly competition between Bradley Academy and what they do in the drama department there. And I'm always so proud to put forward the Roy Waldron Elementary Drama Department and everything that Dr. O'Kane does through that program. And it comes right here out of Laverne. So I'll pause and take any questions you might have to share other things that are going on in the school system.
I've had several questions from parents about the filming project with Laverne High School. Can you go into some detail about that?
Yeah, so this was really great. On Tuesday, April the 4th, Principal Dirk Ash came to the board and brought to us a filming project that had been proposed. The executive producer, Mr. Greg Henry of Learning Tree Productions, came forward to us and said, we took a look at schools across the United States of America. We wanted to find a school that was typical. We didn't want something on the West Coast or the East Coast. We didn't want something that was a mega school of 3,000 plus students, but we didn't want something that was only 500 students. We wanted a school that was achieving academically, and yet we wanted a school that absolutely represented diversity. And through this matrix of analysis, they came down to 212 schools, and then they started looking at the accomplishments of those schools. And they have selected Laverne High School to be the filming location for the second season of a nationally broadcast television show, and that filming is set to start in August. With situations like this, there are a number of things that, that they want to keep to themselves in order to make the production, an exciting time. But we have reviewed it, vetted it for about 15 weeks. It's now with a team of attorneys that are going through some contractual language, and we're very excited about the opportunity to showcase Laverne High School as one of the examples of the finest in public education in the United States of America.
Wow.
Thank you.
Any further questions from Mr. Holliday for the school system?
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Holliday, for coming. We enjoyed you being here. Come back and see us.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
We're down to consent agenda. Need a motion to approve or deny.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion to approve. Need a second.
Second.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Alderman Brown.
Aye.
Alderman Cole.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Green.
Aye.
I say aye. The consent agenda passes 5-0. Number 5, first reading ordinance 2017-06, an ordinance of the City of Laverne, Tennessee, adopting the annual budget and tax rate for fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2017 through June 30th, 2018. Need a motion to approve or deny on first reading.
I make a motion to approve.
Got a motion to approve. Need a second.
Second.
Got a second. Alderman Brown.
Hold on, can we have some discussion on this?
Yeah, we're in discussion.
Sure. We've heard some comments tonight from the audience as far as with the senior center and adding an additional personnel there. AC, when it comes to the needs that you've got for the senior center and what you need, I know currently in there is we've discussed the bus. It's been brought up and discussed about a full-time employee. Which one is the greater need from your vantage point for the people who go to this senior center for the senior center, and what's also needed for the city?
Well, here's my main concern about a full-time employee down there. We have one full-time employee, which is Cassidy right now. GNRC standards change almost daily. It seems like they're always throwing a different twist at us here and there. And in order for us to maintain the funding that we get from them, we have to maintain those standards. And it's some of the things that they ask are really difficult to maintain because and a lot of it has to do with programming, and a lot of it has to do with data entry. There is so much of that involved that it's just overwhelming for one person to do that on a regular basis when you're also trying to shop and do all the other things that you have to do to make the center run properly. You have one person with a purchase card down there. I don't mind helping the seniors. I love the seniors, and I'll go shopping whenever I can, but I'm not always available to do that. But I do shop for the senior center, when it's, something else is going on and Cassidy can't do it. And this is provided that she's healthy and well and there all the time. We have a bus now that gets us from point A to point B. My concern about that was later on, if something happens with that, a lot of the seniors don't have a way to get to the center. But if I had to choose one or the other right now, I would say a full-time spot because we have a bus that works. But if something happens to Cassidy and she goes out, or, with GNRC standards changing the way that they're changing on a regular basis, we really need to, up our game and make sure. And, I was standing down there the other day and 3 people signed up, new members, while I was standing there. I can't imagine if we had a bigger building, how many members would be down there. I mean, it is just phenomenal. And it's continuing to grow, regardless of the fact that we don't have quite enough room down there. So it's, to me, that's where the need is right now. And I'm trying to be proactive instead of reactive because a couple years down the road, we're going to be, we're already on the edge of playing catch up as it is. So that's where my thoughts are on the whole thing.
So you're for you and for the senior center and for the seniors, which one are you saying is more important?
Well, to me, it's the position, because we do have a bus right now that gets us from point A to point B. And if it continues to grow, obviously that'll be important, but for right now, yeah, I need a position down there. So,
And if we lose that as far as the GNRC, how does that impact the senior center?
well, I don't think we could continue to function because then the city would have to foot the bill for what we lose, you know, the GNRC funds us for. So, I mean, that's a big chunk of change, and that's for programming and salaries and everything else, you know, and between Rutherford County and the city pitching in, that's where the center gets its funding. So, you know, we try to do fundraisers and things like that, but it's, with the center growing the way it's growing, it's hard to keep up. So,
And Phyllis, those line items, were they similar in pricing?
Similar, but you know, the senior citizens fund is not part of the general fund. It's totally funded by, you know, the three streams of revenue. So, you know, that would, as of right now, there is no funding for an additional person.
But we have the funding right now in the budget for the vehicle.
Yes, we're transferring that from general fund to the senior citizen fund.
So if we made the change there to instead of doing a vehicle, do a personnel, that's possible.
Yeah, I mean, I have to bring this point out, you know, the center is not open 40 hours a week, so it's kind of unusual that you would hire somebody for 40 hours and pay the benefits when it's only open, what, 36 hours a day for 4 days, 24 hours?
And also, I think the bus will be a one-time purchase. Full-time employee would be revolving, it'd be every year deal on that. We did, how much did we allocate more this year out of general budget cash?
$50,000
$50,000.
for the van.
Yeah.
That's right around what the budget was though for a full-time employee originally, wasn't it?
No.
What
We
was
have
the-
one full-time employee and two part-time.
But when we were looking at the capital expenses originally, that amount was in there.
It was requested, but it was not approved.
Right, so that amount was, but that was $50,000 for
I
that?
think so.
Okay. So it's, again, there's possibility of switching out. We've got, as AC said, a van that is functioning. And if he's looking at priorities, he's saying his priority is more of an employee.
How do you propose
And
to
if
pay
we-
for the salary the second year, though?
Well, hold on. And if we lose that GNRC funding, that shuts down the senior center, essentially, is what is being said. So now we haven't looked, to my knowledge, going back to budget meetings that I've been to over the years, we haven't ever looked multiple years out at funding for each employee. But if you look at last year's budget, $1.4 million over budgeted amounts, over what we already estimated.
Which is why
So-
most of the line items in this budget that we're proposing today have been able to cover a lot of the request of the department heads that were not covered in the previous years because we do have a little more funding.
Some of them, yes. But again, we have to look at, you know, what's priorities here. And what we're getting from our director and what we're hearing from our seniors is that there's an employee, and that's to maintain that funding, paperwork with that funding versus a vehicle that, as AC said, is currently working.
AC, are all the employees cross-trained?
as far as like parks employees,
All of the employees at the senior center, can they all do different things? Can they all operate the computers and?
to one degree or another, yeah, everybody kind of pitches in and helps out. I mean, obviously, they each have their own niche and each one is better at certain things, but yeah, they can all jump in and do what other ones can do. They're not as proficient as the other ones, but yeah, they all do it. Everybody does it.
I'm just saying, one thing that hurt us this year that we didn't have last year, we didn't have that $500,000 bond that's we're going to be looking at, what is it, for the next 10 years, Phyllis?
I think to 2024, I believe.
You know, that really hurt us this year, that we took a $500,000, and then we don't know about next year. You know, we hope everything will be good, but, you know, it's not a good practice. I was always told, fellas, don't spend money you don't have. So, you know, I think we done a good deal this year on the budget, considering what we had to work with the $500,000 dumped in our lap, and you know, all the department heads and Phyllis, you done a great job, and to come in under budget was something when we started I didn't think we'd go and do, but we did it, and a lot of the praise has to go to the department heads. Y'all done a great job, and we did it. We come in under budget, and it's hard to bring a big $19, $20 million budget in under budget, and we done it, and I appreciate it. Any further questions?
Well, yes, I've still got some. I mean, are we prepared as a group to take that risk with our seniors? What one question I'm asking. Potential to shut it down. With regards to that senior position, we're looking at a vehicle that has been said we don't necessarily have to have versus a position that our director says is needed and our seniors say are needed. Is that the risk that this board is willing to take?
I don't think it's a risk, Alderman Cole. One of the things that I would look at, I think that we should look into getting a full-time position as they're requesting. I think it would be very, very dangerous for us to compare a one-item payment to an employee. I think at a later time, we can amend and bring in the employee when we are assured that we can pay them. Because if we don't get the van, and then we don't have that money next year, they're going to be laid off. Because you will not be able to, and it's not just the individual salary. They have to have insurance, and they have to have all of the benefits that every other employee of the city has to have. We can't just vote on this tonight and say we're going to replace that, the vehicle, with an individual. I mean, I think that's something that this board as a whole can bring back as an amendment, and I'll be more than happy to look at that after we look at funding for that individual. I mean, if we can possibly, since he said that they can go with the van that they've got now, let's keep that van and don't worry about getting the $50,000. Put it to the side, and then let's look at being able to fund this individual, make sure he or she can afford to stay without us having to cut without us losing funding and having to cut their position. I think if we want to bring them in, we need to make sure that they're going to be able to stay. Because if we bring them in and they can work a year, because the budget goes for a year, and then the money's not there next year, we'll be in the same situation that we're in. So I think we need to make sure for that individual and for their comfort and peace of mind that we'll be able to fund them for a continuous basis as opposed to 1 year.
Any further questions? Hearing none, we got a first and a second. Alderman Brown.
Aye.
Alderman Cole.
No.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Green.
Aye.
And I say aye. The first reading ordinance 2017-06 passes on first reading 4-1. Moving down to number 6. This is first reading also ordinance 2017-07, ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2016-2017 general fund budget. This is house cleaning. We talked about it in the workshop. Need a motion to approve or deny.
Make a motion to approve.
Got a motion, need a second?
I second.
Got a second. Any discussion? Alderman Cole?
Aye.
Alderman Jones?
Aye.
Alderman Brown?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Green?
Aye.
I say aye. First reading ordinance 2017-07 passes 5-0. We're down to number 7. First reading ordinance 2017-08, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2016-2017 street capital project fund balance. Also spoke at length in the workshop. Need a motion to approve or deny.
Make a motion to approve.
Got a motion to approve. Need a second.
I second.
Any discussion? Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Alderman Brown.
Aye.
Alderman Cole.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Green.
Aye.
I say aye. First reading ordinance 2017-08 passes 5-0. Down to number 8. First reading ordinance 2017-08, an ordinance to amend the City of Laverne zoning ordinance by changing the official zoning map for tax map 29 parcel 2.08, consisting of 1.4 acres located at 113 Charter Place from a C2 Highway Service Commercial Zoning District to a I2 Heavy Industrial Zoning District. This received an unfavorable recommendation from the Planning Commission back on April 25th, 2017. This is the property over there on Walden Road beside the Dollar General store. Need a motion to approve or deny.
Motion to deny.
Got a motion to deny. Need a second.
I second.
Got a second. Alderman Brown.
Aye.
Alderman Cole.
Aye.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Green.
Aye.
I say aye. The ordinance 2017-09 is denied on first reading. Is that what we need to do, Bruce?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Moving on to number 9. This reading, ordinance 2017-10, an ordinance to amend the City of Laverne zoning ordinance by changing the official zoning map by tax map 15 parcel 2.3 consisting of 2.84 acres located directly behind 5093 Murfreesboro Road from a C4 shopping center commercial zoning district to a C2 highway service commercial district zoning district. This also received an unfavorable recommendation from the Planning Commission on April 25th, 2017, and this item has been noted by the developer, has been withdrawn from this request, and we will take no action on number 9. That's ordinance 2017-10. Moving down to number 10. Resolution 2017-10, a resolution to write off uncollectible property tax accounts. We spoke at this at workshop. This is what the county released to us. We do this, I think, just about every year. Need a motion to approve or deny.
Make a motion to approve.
Got a motion to approve. Need a second.
Second.
Got a second. Any discussion? Alderman Cole.
Aye.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Alderman Brown.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Green.
Aye.
I say aye. Resolution 2017-10 is approved 5-0. Number 11. This is also a resolution 2017-11. A resolution of the City of Laverne Board of Mayor and Aldermen to declare property owned by the city to be surplus to the city needs and direct disposal of the same. We spoke at this at workshop. Need a motion to approve or deny.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion to approve. Need a second?
Second.
Got a second. Any discussion? Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Alderman Brown.
Aye.
Alderman Cole.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Green.
Aye.
I say aye. Resolution 2017-11 passes 5-0. We're down to number 12. It's also a resolution 2017-12, a resolution to accept the Center Point Lot 13 and re-subdivision of Lot 14 Industrial Park subdivision. This received a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission back on March 28, 2017. Need a motion to approve or deny.
Make a motion to approve.
Got a motion to approve. Need a second?
Second.
Got a second. Any discussion? Alderman Brown.
Aye.
Alderman Cole.
Aye.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Green.
Aye.
I say aye. Resolution 2017-12 is approved 5-0. Now we're down to Mayor and Alderman comments. Alderman Cole.
Just remind everybody to keep Lieutenant Goins in your prayers and come out the 19th for Music in the Park.
Alderman Jones.
No comment, sir.
Alderman Brown.
Yes, I would like to thank Aaron Holliday with the Rutherford County Board of Education for coming out and speaking with us today. I'd also like to thank State Representative Don White and State Representative Mike Sparks for coming out and wishing Laverne a happy birthday. And I want to tell all my neighbors and my family, happy birthday, Laverne. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Green.
I feel the same as she does. We're just proud of everybody, especially our city. So I'd just like to say thank you to everybody.
Again, I appreciate Aaron Holiday. I went blank a while ago. I know your name's good too. Mine, I couldn't gasp it, and I also appreciate State Representative Don White and Mike Sparks. And Mike mentioned his dad, and yes, me and Mike Sparks' dad was a long-time friend. He passed away a few years back, and not just I miss him, but a lot of residents missed him. He was stationed at Stewart Air Force Base for a long time, which Mike Sparks, he was like a military brat, you might say. He grew up at Stewart Air Force Base, and his family been in this area a long time, and I appreciate his dad's service to the country, and Mike Sparks is serving Middle Tennessee good on the state representative thing. And first time ever we have had to implement a water meter swap out program, residential and commercial, which it will in turn hopefully lower the water loss and increase revenues, which possibly lead to lower water rates. Since October of 2016, Laverne has started a progressive program to reduce water loss. And Michael, y'all's group has worked, and to this day, how many leaks have y'all found?
So we found 52, I believe it was. We fixed a total of 48 today.
And some of them we don't even know how long they've been leaking.
Correct.
And then with the meter switch out, that should make a big difference too.
Yes, sir, we're hoping so.
Appreciate your hard work, Michael. Y'all have worked double shift sometimes on that. And also keep Chris growing and his family in our prayers. I'm glad to see they moved him into rehab. That lets everybody know that he is improving, because he went to Stonecrest and then to Southern Hills, then Centennial in intensive care. So getting out of intensive care has got to be improvement. And prayers has been well documented. And appreciate last weekend the department heads we had department heads and employees out in the rain working. I seen one of the employees that was waist high in water, and I'm sure it was some more that worked just as hard. And I seen one a policeman that was soaking wet, and I'm sure him and a bunch more stayed soaking wet all day. So appreciate everybody putting in 100%. And I want to thank Phyllis and all the city department heads for their hard work and budget. Facing with the $500,000 taken right off the top this year, it was a challenge. It was a challenge, and we worked hard, and good job. And starting May 4th, the citizens can pay the water and sewer bill online and by phone system. So we're coming into the 20th century, payment-wise. And the new Bojangles, I talked to them the other day, and they're shooting for opening May 16th. So hopefully they'll open a few days early, but right now they're shooting for May 16th. And Donna, the library, if it opens May 13th, I know it'll be a bunch of people that will be glad, and it will be a celebration. Absolutely. I'll dance in the parking lot that day for sure. And I want everybody to remember the Keith family. They lived on the old National Highway for years and years, over 50 years, and Mr. Keith passed away, and a lot of friends, and he's going to be missed. And again, I want to congratulate the Laverne junior varsity baseball. It's always good to see Laverne whoop everybody in Murfreesboro. And I'm sure I might be leaving some. Again, I want to congratulate Cheryl and HR. It's not every day that a department head gets recognized just in the state of Tennessee, but across the country. And that's something to be proud of. But we got the best department heads, employees here, so that shouldn't be no surprise for anybody. We got the best employees, and for over 10 years, I've been privileged to work with a lot of y'all, and y'all the best. And I don't have anything else. I'm gonna call this meeting adjourned.